This Lego man was murdered, and in this video, I'll be looking for clues on a mysterious train inside a haunted castle and other places around my Lego city to help this detective minifigure find out which of these suspects is the killer. It was a dark and stormy night, and the private eye arrived at the scene of the crime. His name was Grayson Gray, and I had to build this entire train station using only gray bricks and paint my hands gray using hopefully washable paint to match his classic noir look. I am fully committed to this bit. He found the victim broken into pieces like in those Lego video games, with an empty briefcase next to him. Our first clue to add to this fancy schmancy corkboard. I've always wanted to make one of these. Grayson checked the clock tower, the ticket booth, and the passenger platform, but couldn't find a trace of the murderer anywhere, which means they must have gotten on the train. Sorry, no, not that train. We actually have to build the train the killer escaped on first, which I'm designing to look like suspect number 1, Percy. Like most boys, he went through a phase as a kid where he was obsessed with trains, but Percy never really grew out of it. Honestly, same. It's been his lifelong dream to take a ride on the LEGO Orient Express and see its shiny green locomotive that he's cosplaying as. With all the gold detailing, one of those slanty guys on the front, and the wheels that are connected by that thing that they go psh, psh. Those are technical terms, by the way. But unfortunately, tickets cost a fortune, which means the killer either has a lot of money or they snuck on like Percy did by hiding in this coal car, which I learned last time is called a tender. But that turned out to be a huge mistake. Because of suspect number 2, Buford the conductor. He ruthlessly inspects the tickets of every passenger on board this coach car I built. And if they don't have one, they don't get to get off the train. Ever. Many people have died without having a ticket, and others have been born on the train. Those guys are screwed. Trying to hide never works either, since Buford's terrifying sense of smell always tracks down stowaways eventually. But when Detective Gray hopped aboard at the next stop, he got his ticket checked and was able to search the train for more clues. He just had to be careful. Someone in this very carriage, or the ones I still need to build, is a murderer. It could even be suspect number 3, Gourmand the chef. He would have certainly had the weapon to do it, what with his suspiciously large knife collection and all, but he claimed to have an alibi. Last night at the time of the murder, Gourmand was in the kitchen, whipping up his famous triple berry cake for the patrons of this dining car to enjoy. Likely story. But he actually had photographic evidence of him serving the cake to the crowd. Except one seat is empty. And just like that, we have suspect number 4, Tracy the paleontologist. Grayson remembered seeing him in the newspapers as the inventor of a machine that brought dinosaurs back to life, and all the carnage that came from it. He or one of his man-eating dinos could have easily been the killer, but where could he be? And who's ever heard of a dinosaur train?
I'ma get you, boy! Get back here! I know you don't have a ticket!
Looks like Percy was finally discovered. Let's follow both of them into the final car of the train, the luggage hold caboose. I used a bunch of different suitcase and crate pieces to give Percy a bunch of different places to hide from the conductor.
Aha! Coffee mugs. Aha! Just a subscribe button. What the heck?
Thankfully, Grayson got there just in time to finally get to the bottom of all this. So apparently, Tracy was traveling back home from a paleontology event he had spoken at, where he had been approached by someone who wanted to buy his DNA replicator technology. He firmly refused, as he had seen firsthand the damage that kind of power could cause. But then the guy followed him onto the train, and while everyone was distracted with Gourmand's cake, they overpowered him, stole the passkey to his machine, and stuffed him in the same trunk Percy tried to hide in.
Returning to the scene of the crime, no doubt.
The inspector wasn't convinced, so Tracy tried describing what the person looked like. But when his sketch was done, Grayson Gray was terrified. Suspect number 5 looked exactly like the victim. Run! Oh, you know we had to do a train top chase. Everyone climbed up on the roof as suspect number 5 flung knives from Gourmand's collection at them.
Hey, that one was vintage!
Except it wasn't a very long train, so Grayson had to come up with a plan fast.
Psst, he doesn't have a ticket. Why, I oughta!
With Buford distracting him, the tear-stricken chef was able to sneak down into his kitchen, while Grayson ran up ahead with Percy.
Gonna need your obsessive train knowledge, kid.
He knew exactly how to shut down the engine and pull the brake as hard and fast as possible.
This is your conductor speaking. We are approaching our final stop of 25ville. Thank you for riding on the LEGO Orient Express.
Wait, maybe it wasn't that guy either. Maybe that's the real killer. Grayson chased them to the dog village, avoiding stray sticks of dynamite that blew up the dog houses and scared all the poor pups away. But whoever was behind all this had prepared a helicopter to escape in. That's not even fair. And now we're back to square one on this mystery, since nobody really got a good look at who the killer was. Nobody except Scooby Doo. He had been cowering in fear inside the theater when the killer ran past.
It was a runster.
A monster. Okay, that's not very specific. But luckily, Scooby's friends are seasoned pros at catching monsters. We got Shaggy, Fred, Daphne, and the absurdly expensive Velma minifigure that only came in this super rare set. Their mystery machine actually comes with a built-in monster tracker, and it can transform into a bunch of different vehicles. So Grayson flew off with them to hopefully find some answers. In the meantime, these passengers are completely stranded here, at least until Buford can get the train up and running again after that explosion.
I can help.
No.
I was planning to build a big black and white detective's office for Inspector Gray after he solved this mystery, but since things got so derailed back there, let's start working it early so everyone has a place to crash at. By sandwiching a bunch of these panel pieces together, they formed some extra compact stairs leading up to the front door for all the stranded passengers to come inside. Apparently this isn't even an illegal technique since this official set uses it. I also stole these doors from my French mansion, these windows from the train station, and these spiky pyramid kind of things from ancient Egypt. That's what this museum exhibit is about. And Grayson and the gang are investigating a reported mummy sighting here. Well, except for Shaggy and Scooby. They're just looking for food. According to legend, King Ramses possessed a special gem that was said to prolong his reign forever. Look at how well that worked for him. Wait, maybe he was onto something. Rookie mistake. As it turns out, this so-called mummy was really just Dr. Najib, not the killer. And the gem he was trying to steal was a fake. Where's the real one? Even though the engine repairs were taking Buford longer than expected, he still wouldn't let Percy or anyone else without a ticket leave the train. Actually, maybe that's why the repairs are taking so long. But anyways, I continued building the walls of the detective office where the rest of the crew have set up camp. Because it's all just one boring gray color, I really had to rely on different textures, extrusions, and sideways building techniques to make it at least somewhat more interesting to look at than the blank back wall. Inside, I built 2 different rooms on the first floor and a grand staircase up to a future second floor. Now when you open the front door, you get this incredible view. I wanted to bring over a couple rooms for my LEGO Clue board, since that game's also about solving a murder, but I couldn't decide which ones. Maybe a library with a desk, this extremely unhelpful globe, and a secret bookshelf entrance to the study over here. You can just use the normal door, but literally no one ever does because this way is so much cooler. This is where Grayson will eventually sit at his desk, talk to clients, and I gave him a tiny version of my corkboard to keep track of clues. It's still looking a bit empty in both rooms though, so adding some greenery will really liven it up. Never mind, that's gray too. But meanwhile, Mystery Inc. found themselves in the thick of this spooky forest, hot on the trail of 2 different potential killers. The Headless Horseman and a tree. Okay, probably not that one. This is clearly an animatronic. But that guy might be a strong contender. They tried to make it back to the van, but the Horseman was ironically 1 step ahead of them. Oh, and now there's zombies. Great.
What if I...
Ow!
This was far too colorful a vehicle for Inspector Gray to die in, but there was only one way to survive. Plane mode. No, wrong one, wrong one! Okay, we only have 2 burger missiles to drop on these guys, so we better aim carefully.
Burger!
Scooby, no!
From a tree.
Well, that was a close one, but none of these guys seem to be the killer either. So for now, let's build the 2nd floor of the detective's office. I want to continue this banister railing up here to make it one big open loft space for Detective Gloppy to investigate.
Hey, what are you doing in my house?
Then we can add statues that actually make sense in this color, a wagon wheel chandelier dangling from the ceiling, and even an aquarium filled with these clear blue studs. These clear gray studs as the water. Grayson's quite the fisherman when he's off the clock, and he keeps some of the biggest herrings he's caught on display in his office. There's room for one more though, so he brought his pole along to the next crime scene. This abandoned lighthouse, where 2 more monsters have been rumored to live. They decided to split up and look for clues. Grayson, Shaggy, and Scooby were supposed to scan the shoreline while everyone else snuck into the lighthouse. But they had other plans.
Oh, it's a big one.
Inside, Daphne found a recently used kitchen. Fred investigated this suspicious rock, and Velma climbed all the way to the top. Uh-oh, it's all up to Shaggy and Scooby now.
She's putting up a fight. Almost got her.
Oh, now they're surrounded! With Fred and the girls freed, they had the perfect place to throw their catch of the day until the cops get here. And now that they're ruled out, there's only one possible place left the killer could be hiding. And while they're on their way there, I've got a roof to finish, which is looking pretty flat so far. Out of all my gray slopes, this angle is way too steep, and this isn't steep enough. But this one is just right, and it's definitely not just because I didn't have enough of those other ones. And even then, I only had enough of these ones to finish 2 measly layers, so to make the roof a bit more interesting, I used some macaroni bricks and this round windscreen to create a giant magnifying glass sign that really ties the whole detective's office together. It fits so nicely into this emerging little neighborhood, in front of Cheryl's rebuilt dog park area, and next to Perry, who finally got a new house based on his time at the Olympics. But as he practices for his next race, the meddling and monochrome kids are racing to their final mystery. Based on all the clues so far, this is where the killer must be hiding. It used to be a beautiful little castle, but slowly fell into disrepair, with broken windows, an overgrown greenhouse, ghosts, this infested kitchen Shaggy and Scooby decided to investigate. Wait, ghosts? Fred wanted to build a trap to catch it, but someone in the castle had already built a trap for them, the Black Knight. Once again, the gang found themselves trapped. It can't get any worse than this. Never mind, there's 3 monsters now. I think it's time for a good old-fashioned Scooby Doo hallway chase. Phew. Now let's see who made me spend several hours straight animating that sequence. Oh, I did that to myself. Well, dang it. This is the actual guy from that meme, by the way. But he's not the killer, he's not the killer, and no. Our killer is in another castle. This one, which so many people have been asking me to make a video for. Here's the thing though, I already did. If you want to see how I built this castle and what the interior looks like inside, you're gonna have to find the secret video I've hidden clues to throughout the series. Each 25ville episode contains one red fish somewhere in the background that has one part of a YouTube URL. And this video has 3, the last one being a lowercase s. Put everything together in your browser's search bar to unlock some of this city's backstory that I don't have time to get into today because we've got a killer to catch.
Now let's see who's been behind all this.
Wait, it's another vampire? That's the worst disguise ever. But this is Basil the Batlord, and he's been pulling the strings this entire time with the ultimate goal to make humans immortal.
What?
Living forever as an undead vampire gets terribly lonely, so he created the Vampiric Initiative towards ageless rebirth under a superior humanity, otherwise known as WHODUNNIT. The company researched different methods of extending or suspending lifespans, but Basil was missing the one artifact that would make it all possible: the Ruby of Reflection, an ancient crystal that crash-landed on Earth with the power to form exact replicas of living things. Centuries ago, Basil had possession of the Ruby and discovered that these clones it created were biologically 1 year younger than their original counterparts. By making clones of clones, he could in essence keep a person living on forever, long after their first generation had passed. But the gem and its power was stolen from him, and he's spent every moment since searching for it. WHODUNNIT's entire farming division was set up solely to scan the land for unusually fertile conditions, and they finally found what they were looking for in 25ville's Central Oasis. The ancient secret Michelle was assigned to protect was no longer a secret. The Ruby of Reflection was hidden at the bottom of the oasis, giving its waters their bizarre cloning properties. But this time Basil needed some way to control the clone so they don't rebel again. WHODUNNIT combined the siphoned water with all sorts of corrupting chemicals to create their energy drink, used to make evil clones of Victoria, Valerie, Cornelius, and the guy at the beginning of this video who was murdered by his own clone. Each of these clones set out to acquire one part of Basil's grand plan. Victoria's clones locked Barbara in the dungeon and forced Perry to equip her with a weapon to conquer every floor and retrieve the casket protected at the bottom. Val's clone stole back her VR headset after Donovan failed to. Cornelius was just cloned so I could trade him for this sick painting and still keep Clonelius. And this guy's clone stole Tracy's dinosaur replicator technology. Oh, and all those dogs were cloned to keep the Mushroom Guardians at bay, while Basil fished up the final piece of the puzzle, causing a weird leak to spring. Now he could make evil clones of all the citizens. And Percy, whose clone wasn't allowed to leave the train either. And with their help, he could bring back this corpse from the dead.
Yes, finally! After all these years! Huh? Wait, no!
But thanks to your tens of thousands of comments, Baby Benny finally had enough tickets to buy his beloved minion. Suddenly, Barbara recognized these black stones. Basil had built his castle using all the fallen monsters from the dungeon. And the fallen...
Chuckles?
Oh wait, he's evil now. Chuckles and all the monsters Benny cloned are under WHODUNNIT control. And if Basil is able to resurrect whoever was dangerous enough to lock at the bottom of the dungeon, he'll be unstoppable.
Now, at long last, the two of us will rule over a superior humanity with an iron fist! Yes!
It turns out, whatever mind-controlling stuff they put in WHODUNNIT wasn't nearly strong enough for her. The citizens all rushed for cover to hide from the giant harpy. But she seemed to be on their side.
Let me die!
With her help, they took one final stand against their evil clones.
Squirrel!
And with that, they all defeated their doppelgangers. Except for Percy. He actually teamed up with his clone to overpower Buford so they could finally help fix the train together. And just in time, too.
No! If I can't have my happy ending, no one can!
Oh no.
The city was located just above a massive underground reservoir, and without the ruby keeping the ground stable, it started a massive flood.
We gotta get out of here!
Everyone piled all aboard the newly repaired train and said their final goodbyes to 25 Phil. Thanks for watching.